Oh, I think we're live.
I think we're live.
Hey everyone! We are live. How's it going? I'm super excited about this. This is the first stream for the 100 Days of Gatsby, and I'm being joined by my friend Stefan.
How's life? Happy to be here.
Oh, do you hear that feedback?
I don't get a feedback.
Hmm.
Now you have the YouTube video somewhere, huh?
Okay, sorry, I had the tab open somewhere. So yeah, I'm being joined by my friend Stefan, and we're here to do the soul stream. I'm really hoping that we get like a lot of like reactions from this because I'm so excited that y'all are doing the 100 Days of Gatsby challenge. Hi Peter, hi Ola, uh, hello. Okay, so let's just get right to it then.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, awesome. So let me just pull up the challenge so that we can see what's so I showed about all on the same page. Um, going to share that and put that up here. Okay, so just to make that full screen.
That's good.
So looks good. Okay.
Yep.
So the challenge one, the proof of concepts for 100 Days of Gatsby. We are taxed by senior dev. I like to say senior dev to build. This is your. So let me just read through the briefing. So create a proof of concepts. Today's your first day at Audiocore, and I'm your manager, senior dev. As you know, Audiocore is the leading headphones sharing app in the world, and by leading, I mean we had only one. This was like structured to have a bit of like humor in it. So
Yeah.
by leading, we mean that we are the only one, and by world, we mean 3 cities in California. Okay. Our users love us because with Audiocore, you can pick up a pair of premium Audiocore headphones on the city streets, pay for rentals, yada yada yada. So this is like just an intro. I'm sure that if you're here, like you've like read through it. I don't want to bore you by just reading everything. So the idea is like so for the website project, we've decided to use Gatsby. Audiocore has decided to use Gatsby to build their projects. Why? Well, honestly, they just like the name and the logo. Like there's nothing they know really nothing about Gatsby and they decided to use it. But the CEO was just justifying Gatsby to the engineering team. So like now they're going to use Gatsby. So the challenge for this sprint is to build a proof of concept of a Gatsby site that uses the routing API, building services, hosting, and contentful integrations. Now, I'm not sure. Did I introduce myself in the beginning, right? Stefan, did
We
I?
skip that.
Okay, my bad. I'm Obinna Ekwuno, and I'm a software engineer at Gatsby, and I work at DevRel. Stefan, you want to say a few words?
I'm Stefan. I'm working at Contentful. I'm doing DevRel there, and I'm doing web stuff for quite a while. And I'm looking forward to this challenge here today.
Awesome. Awesome. So because like we have to build a proof of concept for using the Gatsby site and the routing, so I'm here to help with that, and Stefan is here to help with the contentful integration stuff. And really, I'm wondering like, so now reading this, I'm like, what's this contentful, Stefan? You
So
opinions?
Contentful is a content platform that you can use as a software as a service. So basically, when I started web development and you wanted to have a friendly interface for people to edit stuff that are on a website or in a mobile app, usually you had to self-host that yourself and you had to install something and you had to run a server somewhere. And then we were all running and typing into a big WYSIWYG editor, if someone remembers these, putting some HTML in there. And this is not a really scalable solution to kind of cater content in its purest form to websites like Gatsby sites or mobile apps or, I don't know, fridges, cars, or whatever we have.
Watches.
watches. So this is basically where Contentful comes into play. So we're kind of a content management system that is running in the cloud, and you can sign up and you can then define the content structures that you want and need. And all you get then is that Contentful provides you a set of RESTful or GraphQL APIs that then give you the content back. And this then for me or for you as a software developer just gives you the freedom to use whatever technology you like, right? So you can build whatever. So I'm a hipster JavaScript developer, right? So I like to play around with all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why, and I want to play around with APIs. And this is basically where Contentful comes into play, because we give you then an interface where you can structure all your stuff, and then you can build cool stuff like Gatsby sites like we do today.
Yeah, awesome. This is really nice. So Contentful's like integration provides us with like data from any source, provides us with data from a CMS that we can like bring into Gatsby. And if this is like your first time using Gatsby, it's like a static site like generator that helps you like join data from like different parts of like the web. So you can use Contentful for like some parts, you can use like WordPress for other parts, and then you can actually pull data from anywhere. But for this proof of concept, I'm just going to focus on using like Contentful to do a proof of concept for senior dev. I prefer to say senior dev. I don't know why.
Yeah, same in my head.
Yeah. So we're going to use Contentful's the Gatsby Contentful plugin, and Gatsby usually has like a lot of plugins that helps you to like ease the way that you like build stuff and like increase your pace, and also just makes your life easier, right? And we're going to use this to get like the data from Contentful sites, and we're going to create like a homepage, an about page, and collection pages for every city that we are in. Remember when I was reading like what Senior Dev was saying and explaining what Audiocore was like in 3 cities? So we're going to see how we do this with Gatsby, and then we'll build it on Gatsby Cloud, which is Gatsby's like cloud offering for building Gatsby sites super fast. We'll see how fast it is, because super fast is like something. I mean, I can say it's super fast, but like, is it Sonic fast, or is it Bolt fast, or like Obinna running fast? Who knows? So let's get right into it. Okay.
Before we kick started, we have 2 questions in the chat. I think that we can. The first question is from Roman, and he's asking when the next challenge will be for 100 Days of Gatsby.
Oh, the next challenge kicks off tomorrow, and the next live stream, like the solution stream, would probably be around the 11th of February. But like the next challenge, the next sprint kicks off tomorrow, and I got some feedback that like some people were like, this first one is too easy and that. Yeah, but it's because we're trying to get like the experience of just being a new dev on the first day, and then you get to a job and then they say, hey, look, you need to build this, and you're like, yeah. But yeah, this is where it makes sense to use like tools like Gatsby and Contentful to build like
stuff. And then we have a second question from Heyriye. I'm probably pronounced that wrong, so sorry, apologies for that one. They're asking if Contentful is a WordPress alternative. I think it is an alternative in the sense of managing content. I haven't used WordPress for a couple of years, but I think initially Contentful was playing a little bit in a different area, because we're not coming with these with the representational layer. So when you did WordPress in the past, you set it up and usually you install a theme, or you have something that spits out HTML or websites. That is not what Contentful does. Contentful really just provides you a set of APIs, and then it is in your responsibility to build something with this. I know that WordPress these days also has an API, and that they have come a long way in that regard. But Contentful is very, very pure way of dealing with content.
Yeah. So yeah, but with Gatsby, like if you've used to like using WordPress and sourcing information from WordPress, you can also like build a Gatsby site, source some of the information that from WordPress. You can also pull in like stuff from Contentful. You can really just use like any CMS you want, or multiple CMSs at the same time with no performance cost. So which is like one of the like brilliant things and why I personally enjoy like using Gatsby to build stuff, because you just get to choose where you want to get your data from. Like it doesn't have to be from a CMS; it could be like Markdown, but then you can also use a CMS. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's doing that very beautifully. I think you folks were the first ones that were talking about this whole idea of a content mesh, And
Yeah, content mesh.
I think this is a beautiful way of thinking these kind of things. When you think about this whole Jamstack movement, it's just like deal with your business or deal with the things that you want to build, and don't worry about all the other stuff. It could be
Yeah, for sure.
Airtable database, it could be Contentful, it could be, I don't know, a JSON file hanging around somewhere, and then you're just meshing everything together. I think that's beautiful.
I think the whole concept of like the Jamstack too is like really about just focusing on building the thing and letting like every other thing like sort out itself. So Gatsby, like you said, like yes, the content mesh is really something that sells Gatsby in a way of like using different sources, getting everything at the same time and building it with Gatsby. Sourcing with GraphQL, like we will see, and you will see why like the GraphQL like exists and what it does really. But then but let's get into this. So let's do this. Yay! So there are a few pointers here. We're going to be using the Gatsby Interactive Terminal, which is like something that just launched with Gatsby version, I think 2.29. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But then it's a new like terminal that really just helps you visually see how like setting up how easy it is to set up a Gatsby site. So let me just stop sharing this particular screen and then open my terminal so that we can see how this works. So it says the first thing we're supposed to do is run npm. I hope this terminal is bumped up enough. Is this okay?
Yeah, looks good to me.
This is good? Okay, cool. So we're supposed to run npm init Gatsby. Ultimately, what this does is like it brings out like an interactive platform where you can set up your Gatsby site without having to like go to clone something and then edit like all over again. You can, and we'll see how this works. So I'll just call this Gatsby proof. I'll just call this a POC. That works, or
until we ship it to production, right?
Okay, yeah, we'll just call it that. So you see that now that it's showing us like choose a CMS of choice, and today we're going to be using Contentful. So we just hit that button, and because this is just a proof of concept, we don't want to worry about styling and all of those things. So say no. And Senior Dev said we should add responsive images and a sitemap. So you see how easy it is to add all these things. And then usually what you would do before this is to have to install all of these plugins by yourself. But because of this interactive platform, like all you do is just click a button and then things are open for you. So we're constantly working at Gatsby to make sure that life is easier for everybody. We just want to make the web a better place. So that's like one of the things that I'm really happy about. Yeah. So responsive images, metadata, and sitemap. Then we go to done. We don't need any of these other things yet. And here it would ask you, because the way Contentful works, at least to the best of our knowledge, or let me just leave the Contentful expert to tell me what an access token and space ID is. Tell me.
So the way that Contentful works is that we provide a set of APIs, and these APIs are basically read-only. So the first thing is when you use Contentful in this project or other projects, and you have your access token there, you have to authorize that you're allowed to access this data. Contentful by default is meant for public data, so which makes sense, right? You want to have a content management system and put data in there that you put somewhere else, said it's your watch or a website. But to make all these kind of requests, you have to put in an access token, and you can find this all in our UI. So I think that we should just jump over and we can walk it through. Or what do you think?
Yeah. So should we leave this here, or we can always just come back to this. What do you? Okay. Should we switch over?
Whatever you, at some point we have to set up Contentful whenever you want to.
Okay, so let's just skip this for now. So just going to give me 1 second. Okay, so we're just going to click enter, so it doesn't like set up. It doesn't add like the access tokens and all of that. Usually, if you've already set up Contentful and you just impute those values there, it would automatically like set up Gatsby config for you, which is part of like the process. But so we're just going to click yes here, and then it starts to clone the templates and installs Gatsby and adds all those plugins for you. Like you can see the Gatsby plugin image is installing Gatsby React Helmets and Gatsby plugin sitemap, all these things that you would have had to like go do by yourself is automatically being set up for you. Usually, this is where I advocate for elevator music. I think it was Jason Lecture that said we need some elevator music when things like this are loading, because it's like, okay, go on.
I can bring that in. Yeah, I can open my Spotify here and make some music. If you want.
Yeah. Let's make some music.
Let's see. Oh, but it's playing to my headphones. Probably. I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Let me look at the chat, see if we have like any questions or anything.
We've got some fire from Ferranmi. But apart from that,
Fermi.
I think everybody's ready for us to get started.
Oh, hi Fermi. So yeah, awesome. Haha. So the next thing we do is like it said already, we change directory to Gatsby PLC. And then I would want to open this in code. So I already have a shortcut. Usually all you just have to do is like go to VS Code and then like open this file. But then if you have like a shortcut, it's like code dots, it would automatically open this for you. So I'm just going to stop sharing this now so that I can share the actual code, please. Aha. Okay.
Here we go.
So now, so we just ignore this. You can see now that like this. Let me see.
Looks good. Yeah.
Is this okay?
Yep.
Should I bump up a bit? Is this good now?
Works.
Okay, awesome. Let me please, if you can't see this, please let me know in the chat so I can increase my font size. So you can see that this has it's set up like the image for us. It's set up like some pages here, index page and for page. If you go to the Gatsby config, like it's already set up this for you. So if we had put in some space ID and access token, it would have like put in like the plugins here.
Yep.
Right. But then if you check your package.json, you see that these plugins have already been installed as dependencies in your you can look here. You can see that those plugins that we chose have already been installed here. And then I think the first thing we want to do, what do you think, Stefan? Should we just go over to Contentful and just know that we've finished all of that, or should we just create some pages? Or should I just run this first?
We can run it first, or we can go to.
Yeah. So okay, let me just run this first to show you, because I saw a tweet where someone. So you run this with Gatsby develop. I'll run it on terminal, so I don't have to keep switching and changing. Yep. So we on Gatsby develop. Should run all of this for you. So yeah, no queries is really the only thing like on this place on here right now is an index page filled with all of this. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to open the browser. I need to figure out how to like share without having to disappear for a bit. Hey man, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I think I went off for a bit. Sorry.
Yep.
But yeah. So we have this setup when you run.
Is it my connection or is it Obinna's connection? Can there someone in the chat let me know where the problem is? Oh no. Well, in the meantime, I can answer the question in the chat, which is from Devashish. And they ask, what would be the data model to model an FAQ section? So I would model a FAQ section. It kind of depends on where you want to go there, but I would set up a content type, which is FAQ question as a single type, and I would include the question as a headline and all the rest as a maybe as a rich text field, so that I also can connect different question. And yeah, this is how I would model that, and I hope Obinna comes back soon. Are you back? Looks like you're back.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here since. I've been hearing everything. I don't know why. What's happening?
You were out for the last minute.
Whoa. I'm. Oh, wow. Because like I've been on the chat. I'm trying to. Am I back now? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay.
What's going on? Can you see the Contentful screen?
Yep.
Okay, so let's just see how to set this up. I don't know why this is not working properly.
So what you would have to do is, Obinna already did that. He registered and set up something, and Contentful works in the idea of spaces. So basically a space is always a bucket of data. And I think you have an empty space already available.
Oh yeah? Yeah, I do.
Oh no, oh, do you?
No, I don't. So I need to add a space.
All right, let's add a space.
Add a space. This is Contentful's pricing, but then we have like
you can always
community.
You get a free space. Always, you can always get a free space that you can play around with. It's pretty generous. I use the free space for my own side, so it's definitely good enough to get something off the ground like our POC here.
Oh, okay. So what should I name this? Should I name this?
That's just Gatsby. For us. We can Gatsby POC. This is really just for us.
Oh, okay. So empty space, yes.
Yep, okay. We're going to go for empty space.
Yep.
So this is now basically setting up your own space, and now we can go into that. And this is where the beauty of Contentful comes into play. And that's something, when you go into it, something that I enjoy the most is this flexible content modeling. So Contentful by default is not thinking in pages. You can use it to build pages, but it's really just bringing you as a developer back and to look at what is actually the data that I'm dealing with and how can I make that in the best reusable thing. So when we now go into, we should grab a token, for example, first, because that was a question in the chat. So what you can now do is you can go into settings. You're already in there, and you can go to API keys. And this is the API key section that we already mentioned. So what you have to do here is you have to create a new set of API keys. Usually you want to have an API. Yeah, you can click plus. Usually what you want to do is if you have several applications running on top of Contentful, usually you want to create a key for every application. And here we already have the information that we need to connect Gatsby with Contentful. So there are two pieces to this story right now, which is the space ID to kind of tell Contentful when we're asking the API, hey, give me all the data. Contentful has to know where the data is coming from. And then the Contentful delivery API token, which is the second one that we then also can copy and can bring into our Gatsby app.
Okay. So because like I need to like turn, I'm really sorry y'all couldn't hear me because like I could hear everything. I thought I was still on. I'm running all this from I'm running all this from like one 13-inch MacBook that's here. The fan is on and I'm wondering like please don't die on me. But yeah, so I'm just going to copy the I'll copy this and I'll go into let me just share the Gatsby screen so that the VS Code screen so that we can have that. Oh, yeah. So now that this is here, like what I'm going to do is we already set up like the plugin side. So like I'm going to resolve the okay. Before this, let me just stop this development server so that this is good. And close this. So we're going to resolve the you have to resolve the plugin that's already in our uh, this. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to resolve the Gatsby source contentful plugin, which is the plugin that's already here. You have to like so you have to like resolve the plugin in the Gatsby config parts. Why is this highlighting? Okay. Oh my bad. Sorry.
You're in an array.
Yeah. Uh, I need to take this out from here and put this in here. Sorry. But this is how you resolve. You have to resolve it like an object because like you might have more plugins and then you like have to add them into that. And plugins usually have like options, which is like the which is the what's it called, the space ID. In this case, the options for this is like this. If you look at if you open the documentation for this plugin, you'd see like the space ID. Like you have to add the space ID and the what's it called,
Access token.
and the access token. So I'm just going to put the space for this so I can copy them at once. Hmm. Looking at the chat, and I think somebody posted some of the plugins that they use. So this is like the space for the so because this is read only, like I'm not bothered if like you can see the token or like this, so you can't even manipulate it because like Stefan said, the whole idea was is to give like public data, right?
Yeah,
Stefan, am I
yeah.
right?
You have to be a little bit careful though.
With what?
With the space ID and the access token, so people can potentially, when you now paste the access token, people can query your space,
Oh,
right? And that's not a big deal. But for example,
yeah,
what you also might have, for example, we have the idea of a preview API where you can also
yeah,
access
yeah.
unpublished data. So Obinna, when you would be Apple, right, and you would run your Apple pages on Contentful, you don't want to have the preview token maybe
Yeah,
in your
exactly.
public stream so that people can
Yeah,
start querying around, seeing what's coming up. But in
yeah,
our
for
example,
sure.
it's completely valid.
So usually because like I don't want to like go delving into like environment variables and all of that. So like
So I
and
think
really
it's
what
completely
like we're
valid.
just trying to so I'm just going to put this here. Like this will be deleted later. But this is how you resolve the what's it called, the plugin. And this is the only plugin that we're going to have to like resolve. So we've basically connected our Gatsby site to our contentful space.
Mhm.
So now, before we like go back to our contentful space, let's just do some things with Gatsby. So now that we have like all of this set up here already, we want to look at how we can create like our own pages because from the tags that we're given, we're supposed to create a home page and an about page. So, no, sorry. So we want to do that from scratch. Oh my bad. We want to do that from scratch. So we're going to import React. I deleted everything from the page because I wanted to do it from the beginning, right? So next thing we do is to export the default function and probably call this home, because index pages are usually like just home, like the home page.
Yep.
And then what? You say something?
No, I just said yep. Go for it.
Oh, okay. Now I'm live coding now, and it's like I don't know what to type. Of course, leave it to my spelling to do rubbish. So I do, hey, I am the home page. So now we have like a home page, and if I run the site and we go to the what's it called? Let me just do that now. No, sorry. Let me just do that now. I will run the site. Need to stop the screen and share this one. You can see
Wonderful.
and the home page. So now we've successfully set up like a home page, right? And remember, this is just a proof of concept, so nothing fancy. It's just to show like routing and stuff. So we've set up a home page. So if we go back to the other bits, yeah. So the same way we set up a home page, we can also set up a, like the home page is indexed, so we can also set up like a page here, like the about page. And the thing to know about that is that any file you put under the pages directory will automatically become a route. By route, I mean that if you go to localhost 8000 / the name of the file that is under pages, it will automatically become a route. So we want to add a file here, and we call it about.js. And this about.js, you see that it's automatically like rebuilding because we've created this. So even if we go back to the sites and just go to about.js, it should show something. So just because I don't want to repeat what I've initially done, I'm just going to come here and copy this and put this here and just change this to about. So if you go to the Gatsby site in your browser, you should see that if you come to this pattern and go to /about, you should see I am the about page. I'm sorry. Here. So what we've done is like we've created two separate pages just by adding the files under the what's it called, under the pages folder, and that's cool, right?
I think that's exciting.
Yeah, because like I mean we've created two pages, so that's okay. So just to like dive a little bit like more into what we can do with like this newfound power of creating pages. Let me cancel this and just close this for now. We can also do this. We can also link these pages together. We can link these pages together so that it's easier for us to move between these pages. We can also what's it called? We can also create like components. By components I mean like we can create like things that can like wrap these pages and give them like more functionality. Like for example, if you want to like if you're creating pages and then let's for example you want to have all the pages look the same, like they have like a let's say your header or the navigation spans across all your pages, then you want to create a component that will just handle that. Like it's breaking down the whole application into specific parts so that if you make a change somewhere, it would just you wouldn't need to go to the 500 other pages and go and fix them. So we can do that with the header components. If but I'm trying to stay in scope, but at the same time I'm so excited to show you like all of these things. So maybe what we do, Stefan, what do you think? Maybe we head over to Contentful and just create like the other pages that are remaining, finish the proof of concept, and if we still have like some time, because this stream is like 1 hour, then we'll
Yep. Sounds good.
just do like the other fun stuff. Okay,
Yep.
so let's just stick to what's senior senior dev.
What's the plan?
Yeah, let's stick to the plan. So um so we're back to Contentful, and
So
we're back to
what we see here now is basically an empty space, right? There's nothing in there yet, so we cannot fetch anything. And when you look at the top navigation, what you see there is home. There's just some info and some onboarding stuff. But then there's the content model section, the content section, and the media section. And before we get started actually putting things into Contentful, we have to define what data we're actually dealing with. So Obi, could you click on content model, and then we can set something up.
Okay.
So what you see here is what we call a so-called content type. And basically content type is a unit of stuff that belongs together. And I think we're for the challenge, we're going with a city or something, right? Which we could set
Yeah,
up.
so we're looking for cities. So your dev said to make cities in California that we're in. I don't really know cities in California, but
we can do it. Right? So
yeah.
we have to give our content type a name first. So we can go with the city here. That's pretty straightforward,
Okay.
I guess.
Yep.
And then you can create this content type, and you get an API identifier. We will use that in just a moment. City audio. Yep. And now we basically created a content type, and we have to define, okay, but what actually data do we want to, what data are we interested in? So what you can now do is on the right-hand side is you can click add field, and now the power comes into play, because you can really structure the data to whatever you want to have. And I guess as a first step, we probably want to add a text field to give our city maybe a name or a title or whatever we want to call it. But I think name actually makes sense.
Name is good.
Yeah, and
So-
then create that, and then we're already good to go. So there are a bunch of validations if you want to add these. I don't think that we need these right now. And then we have a probably a second field with maybe some explanations or maybe a description or something. We could also use a normal text field for that to keep it simple.
So description.
Yeah. And then we can create that. And just because we were dealing with city, we could also potentially add a location, maybe maybe you want to have a map or something. So I think that location makes a lot of sense to me here too. So when you now click save in the top right corner, the big green button there, this is all it takes to kind of set up the data structures that you're dealing with. So when we now go, is it saving?
Yep, saving now.
Here we go. So what we just did is that we defined the structures, and now you can go into the content section and you can reuse that right away. And that is something that I'm always excited about when I'm using Contentful. Because sometimes I'm just like, oh, I need a new data type to store something random. And then I just create myself a new content type and I put it on my own website. So we can fill this out. I don't know if we want to go with Berlin, because I'm in Berlin first.
Yeah, for sure.
Description, Stefan lives there.
I was thinking the same thing.
And then you can maybe just click into the map to get some coordinates or something.
Exactly, in Berlin.
Done.
B5. Is this your house address?
No, that's a road, but that's good enough.
Okay, so
you can now hit publish, and this is basically all the groundwork that we have to do to get it into our Gatsby app. Because what we now did is that we defined the data structures and we created the first entry of this new data structure. So we can go back into code and we can get it into Gatsby.
Yeah, let me just add. So let me just add like 2 more cities, so that I'll just quickly add 2 more cities.
So that we have something to show.
Yeah. So we have like 3 cities to show. So I'm just going to add another city. I'm currently in Dubai. So like Obinna, look here.
Maybe we can have someone from the chat.
Yeah. Does anyone shout out your city? Where's Dubai? Shout out your city, and then we shall add you on here. You know, Dubai is like somewhere down the map, somewhere here. Does this automatically? Oh, I can zoom out. Okay, somewhere around here. Uh, this is actually the UAE. So small. You see how small this is?
Here we go.
Publish. Ah, Istanbul for sure. Okay. Let's add Istanbul. So we click content, right? And then add a city. Then now we have a lot of cities coming in. I would say, did I get this right?
Yeah. Hey, Rie. Yeah.
Make sure. Okay. I'll find Istanbul.
Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah, found it. Publish. Okay. So we have 3 cities.
Let's go for it.
Okay, cool. So if we look at the content module, we can see. Oh yeah, we can see all our cities. All right. So let's go back to our Gatsby sites. Go back to our Gatsby example to see. So yeah, remember here we just have like 2 pages and stuff, but we wanted to create 2 pages of the city in a content management system. So for example, if for every time somebody joins your company, you don't want, or if for every time Audiocore creates a new office or has a new branch, you don't want to go into your code to start editing all of that. Like the branch head could just go into Contentful and create their own city and say who lives there, and then it's all easy. So it's a distributed system where like you can have a content management system doing stuff, and then your website is updating automatically. So let's see how that really works. So I'm going to open this again so that we can run the sites. So if you look here, oh wow, you can notice something here about Contentful creating nodes, like it's creating the nodes from Contentful, and you can see that the updates entries are 3. So if you just watch I know the day I noticed this, I was like, oh wow, that's what's going on here, because it really just reads. It's a way to like validate that you're actually seeing what's your Contentful is connected to your app, and then seeing how many entries that you have from like different places.
Yeah.
And then we're going to use this tool called Graphical, which is like a tool to visually set out queries. Because sometimes the first few times I saw people write out GraphQL queries, I was like, did these people get all this from their head? And then I realized that like there's actually a tool to create this. So I'm just going to copy this, and yeah, the next live stream I'm doing, I'm getting me some elevator music, because the back and forth. Yeah. So when we hit this route, so I'm just going to clear all of this. This is from the sites that we have currently. And the way you make like queries, if you look at this left side, you can see this is all the Contentful assets. This is all Contentful city, and this is really just mapping out the name. So the name of the content type that you put in. If we click on this, we can see that it's already trying to query for all the Contentful cities, and then it comes in like in an object format. So we check like the edges and then check the nodes. So you just diving deep into like the query tree to be able to find the data that you're looking for. And then we can see that if you look into this, you can see that you have the name, which is something that we created. So we're familiar with the name. So let's just get the name of the city and the description. And I think we added something else. What did we add?
We added the location, I think.
The location, yes. So you can also query for like the location, the latitude, and the longitude. And this is how I formed this query. You can see that I just clicked on something. I mean, it's easier for me to just go and say that yes, I clicked on it because I've done this before. But then when you're faced with like this kind of problem, is you can just look at the left and just read through, and you can find something familiar and just click on it to see what it gives you. Before I figured out how this worked, I probably queried for things that I didn't need. And yeah, so you can, if you click on like this play button up here, you can see that we have the query that we initially wanted, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the data that we just put in here. And I'm a big fan of graphical myself.
Yeah, same. Shout out to Rick.
Obinna, before we move on, I think there's one note that I would like to make. So what we're seeing here is Gatsby's GraphQL implementation, right? So I talked to a lot of people also into our community, and we also have a GraphQL API. So when you have some questions around the Gatsby stuff, it's always good to mention that you're a Gatsby, because these two are
the implementation of the implementation of GraphQL is kind of it's the same GraphQL, but then different implementations of it. So this is how Gatsby handles GraphQL and sources the data from this part. So we're using one CMS, so this particular CMS. This is how we do it from here. But like Stefan said, if you're using like Contentful, you have your own like implementation of the GraphQL, right?
Yeah. So whenever you have a question about Contentful and you're using Gatsby, it's just a very good habit to say that you're using Gatsby, because otherwise, I'm a little bit in the dark, and it's like, oh, wait a second, this is not our API. This is and it always takes us a little to figure that out.
Yeah, my bad. So this is like Gatsby's implementation of the what's it called, the GraphQL like query. So from this query, we're able to get all our Contentful cities, and we're able to get them like this, and then we can then usually, if you're used to just sourcing things from objects, you can just do, so we can see the tree here as data dot all Contentful cities dot edges dot nodes dot name, and then we get the name. Yeah. So that's really how we're going to like implement it. So to just show like how this kind of works, what we're going to do is, let me another exit to this. I think I'm going to be honest, I'm going to get some elevator music, I promise you. The next time I'm going to have like proper music on here when I'm doing the switches and stuff. So I closed that. Okay, no worries. So the same query that we had, I'm just going to go back and copy that query. On here, what we want to do is, because we're still in this is the index page, which is the home page of the thing we're building. I'm just going to change. I'm just going to add the H1 here so that this is a bit bold when we put it. No.
Is that a 1 or is that an I? H1.
You know when you're doing like a live stream and then your hands are shaking.
Eli's watching you here.
Oh yeah. So because like we're using the GraphQL implementation of Gatsby, or Gatsby's GraphQL implementation, we're going to have to import some things from Gatsby to help us be able to use this query that we've created. So I'm going to have to import GraphQL from Gatsby. And then to actually use this, we're going to export the query that we're getting. But I'm just going to name it query. We're going to export the query and then use this GraphQL to be able to just house our query. So then we put the query in here. Are there any questions so far? I haven't seen any questions, because I usually expect questions when I start to do this GraphQL thing. What is like, what? So yeah. But then, really, what we're doing is because, like Stefan pointed out to us, we are using the Gatsby's implementation of GraphQL. So we're going to have to import the GraphQL from Gatsby and then use and put the query that we're trying to get into that bracket, like I've done here. And then now we've gotten like the query that we know what is going to show because we've tested it out. We've seen the outcome. So all we need to do now is just we're sure that this query works. We just need to map it into the components that it's in. So the first thing that we note from the last query that we saw is that it's returned a data. Like it returned data first before it started returning every other thing. So I'm just going to come in here and just put this in here so that we're able to like use the data dot all of these query things that we're seeing here. So the next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to create like an unordered list because I want to list out this, like this is just a proof of concept. Like I just want to list out all the name of the person, the city they are in, and then the description and all of those things, and the longitude and latitude of the place. So inside this place, what I'm going to do is because the query that is coming in, data that is coming in is dynamic. So it's going to it's going to come. So I need to put it in like this curly braces because it's changeable data, right? I do not have. Okay, let me just go on. So to get this contentful cities like in here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a data dot, just like I said, like we're following the structure of this here. So we're going to do data dot all contentful cities. This is the tricky part because mostly if you start to okay, let me just copy this so that I don't misspell anything.
And I think this is kind of the beauty of GraphQL, and this is why it's so nice to work with Gatsby and for example, because you define the data that is coming in. This is why this makes it work as a JavaScript or as a front-end developer just unbelievable nice, because you can define and you can work with the data structures that you actually defined that you want to use in your templates.
Yeah. So I leave. So if, for example, I didn't want to get the map in this query that I'm doing, I could just leave it behind. I don't need to. There's no overfetching of like information. There's no need to tie locations together or tie locations to a particular person, which is like the idea of like we said in the beginning, the new, like I don't say the new, but then because it's not really new when you take up the concept of the Jamstack, but then the better way that we are developing applications today is by getting information as we need it, because the devices that we're getting these days become smaller and smaller and smaller. So we don't want to like overload them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the edges, which returns the edges returns like an array, and I'm just going to map whatever it is it gives me so that I can have like a component. I'm just going to map it into like a list. So whatever the nodes that are coming, I'm just going to map them into a list. And then because like what's coming is the node. There's this fun thing that I like to do where, because now you're saying okay it's node, but then I'm talking about cities and it's really confusing. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to rename that to be city. Instead of just like node, like I'm going to rename this to be city, but I need to wrap this inside. Are we still here?
We are still here.
Okay, gotcha. So now more fun stuff. Because now that this is data, the cities now. So from this point now, what I've done is I've gotten the data, I've gotten all the cities, and now for each of those cities, I'm mapping out the name of the city. Okay. When we map out through stuff, we probably want to put like a key so that it doesn't like show an error of some sort. So we're going to like just use the name as a key. So note that I'm calling it cities because I renamed it here, because I renamed it in here, it could just be node. But then I want everybody to just think of it as we're mapping out the information that we're getting from all the cities. So I'm going to just call that. Let me hurry up so that we can move forward. Description. I'm just going to copy this so we don't have any problems. What else did we
Name,
we ask
location,
for?
lat, and lan.
Location. So I'm going to copy the location. So I'm just going to put it this way. City dot location dot lat. And then the same thing for this one. Yeah. So what I've basically done
the
is
name too, huh?
the name? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Should I still
You
show
only
the
have
name?
it as a key. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna show you here. So I think it still shows. Well, let me just be sure. Oh, my bad. Okay. All right. So when I try to run this again.
Before you maybe run this, we have a question, and the question is from Airily or Airily. What's the difference of using edges instead of nodes when parsing data through GraphQL?
Well, if you look at the what's it called? If you look at, I mean, you can use the nodes too, but then edges returns an array of objects, and the way I just like to, so it's basically up to you. But then the way I like to do it is because it returns an array, I just mark through that array and just bring out all the nodes on their own. So you can do it like any way you want. So value key. Is there any other question?
No, we can.
Okay, so we're just going to run this with Gatsby develop.
You're making the elevator music now.
Yeah, I'm doing my mod now. Okay. New screen. Where is that screen? So yeah, so you see what I was saying? Like it turns like this is an array of like nodes. So like that's just how I like that. So if we go back to the home page here, voila, we have data.
Yes. Wonderful.
So yeah, so now we have like all of this like on the home page, which is really nice. We've sourced it from Contentful into a Gatsby site, so we've done like one step of proof of concept. But now you wonder like, okay, so all of this is here, that's cool, but then each of them should have like their own like if, for example, if I want to like click on them and say, okay, what's like the info for like your own country, right? It should have something like that, right?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, let's just build something out for that. So what we've done now is just create the pages to the home page. We haven't done any. Yeah. Let me share the screen. Thanks for being in the chat, Ward. Really appreciate it. Okay. So we have like this. So all we've done is just create this out here to the home page. Let me take this away. So the next thing we're going to do is something called programmatically querying pages, which is what is defined as like pages on demand, right? So for example, if, like I said, if you want to show for each of those cities, you want to show additional information on them, if you click on them, because these pages are not in your Gatsby site, they're going to have to come from somewhere. The information has to come from somewhere. And because this information has to come from somewhere, it has to be generated as you want them on the fly, which is, it has to be created programmatically. So what we're going to do, usually if you've used Gatsby previously, but then now we're just assuming that like we haven't used Gatsby. And I'm going to introduce you to something called the route system the file system routes API. Let me just open. I'm going to share this in the. So yeah, this is the documentation for it. I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm sure that if you've done this challenge, then you should see. Oh, if you've done this challenge, then you should have like gone through this. We're going to be using collection routes to make the pages on query. And what this documentation is going to explain to us is that you can create pages on the fly by just using the names of those pages and putting them under the pages folder, as you have always done, like creating pages using just the pages folder. And this is like the next step that we're going to like make what we're going to do. So I hope if you just open that, because I need to close the documentation. Okay, so we're back here. And what we're going to do is from the pages folder. Usually, what we create pages by just putting them under the pages, or putting the files under the pages folder. But in this case, if you're looking at the documentation, oh okay. If you're looking at documentation, you just have to create this page. We're going to create another folder under here. Oh wow, why? Oh, okay, my bad. And we're going to call this, we call it city. Stefan, what do you think? City?
Yep.
Okay, cool. We call it city. And then because we know like okay, how do I do this? How do I do this? Okay. So we're going, because if we go back to our graphical here and we close this, we can see, because here we see like we queried for all the contentful entries, all the contentful types, all contentful cities. And then as you go lower into like this, the content that it gives you, you can see the contentful city here, right? And then if we click on this, you can also like just see like all the fields that it provides us, and then we can see like the name, right? If you're reading documentation here, you can notice that this allows you to do is just the name. So you go to like the name of the product. Like here, for example, the example that's given is like you need the name of the product to be able to just create the URL. So for example, here, what we have here is the base directory, and then when you do an about okay, this is
Are you graphical right now, Obinna? Because we don't see that. You're still in your editor.
Oh my bad. Sharing screens. Come on, man. Sorry, my bad. So I'll go back to what I was explaining. So when you're querying for like pages, we see the all contentful assets, all contentful cities, all of this. And then now when we want to query for a particular city, you can see that it allows you to do that with these contentful cities and the name. And if you go down here, you can click like the name of that particular city. So we want, and with the routes API, what you want to do, what it gives you the ability to do is to be able to name the routes just on the fly. So if you want the route to be localhost 8000 / the name of the city that you're going to, then you probably want to name the folder contentful.name, so that you can find the name of the file that you're going to. Yeah. So what we're going to, I did all of that to just explain why I'm going to name this contentful city .name, so that it kind of like mirrors our what's it called? It mirrors the query. It mirrors the query. So I'm going to name this, but then you have to put it in curly braces so that it identifies it as a route, as a program, like a route that's created like on the fly. So we create a new file and we call that contentful city.name. then you probably want to. No. I
Does it have
didn't
to be
put.
.js?
Yeah, it has to be .js. My bad. Sorry, my mouse. Okay, I was looking for my mouse. What is happening, man? It has to be .js. Yeah. So now, what do we want to do here? We want to create like an actual like place where each of these cities can like have more information about them, right? So we want to do the same thing and export a default function, and we'll probably call it city. Yes.
Yeah. But probably importing
And
React from React and not from Gatsby.
oh,
Eagle eyes watching you, Obinna.
thanks, man. Thanks, man. Yeah. So and then you want to like return something. So probably want to just do, like a div for like wrap around like stuff and say, hey, I am happy. I am. So we're going to just put this as a dynamic thing because we want it to be each of like the names of the city, and then yeah. So we need to go create the query for this, right? Because we want to get a particular city, so we need to go create the query for this. And let me just stop sharing this screen and insert my elevator music and just keep going.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, cool. We are back. So in this place where we did like the first query where we had like this query, um, each of these have like, oh my bad. What's this called? What's it? Oh, this isn't running. My bad. Need to run the thing. Run the thing over there. Hmm. I'm just reading the chat while this is running. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, the chat is
Oh,
discussing the nodes versus edges still.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Most people use like different ones. So yeah. Okay. Cool. So now when we run this, we actually get something back, and then we can also each of this has like an ID, which is we didn't define it, but then just to help with the queries, they automatically generate like an ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this ID, and I'll tell you why. So because I need to create a query that let me remove this. I need to create a query that returns a particular city, right?
For
Now, how
every
do I do
route.
that? Yeah, for every route. And I go to like the city, and then I've already clicked on the name, then it's showing me the name, which is good. Um, I want to have the description of the city. I want to have the location of said city, and I want to have this. Now, all of this is cool, right? But then, how do I make sure that this is actually returning a particular city? There's what we call the query variables. So these query variables really just it takes it's what it says what it does. Like it takes in a variable and returns a particular thing for that variable. So the reason why I copied this ID is because I want this ID to be my first variable here. So I haven't defined it. You can see that it's saying, variable $ID does not appear in the query because I haven't put it in yet. So what I want to do is I want to I'm just going to remove that name because the name is not really used. It's just you can name it like when you run a query, like it's not really important ish, at least. So I want to run like an ID. So I want to define the ID. And there's a way to do this from like the what's it called? The like from here. Right? How about undo? I want this ID to return like a string. I want the ID to be a string, right?
Yeah.
And I also want it to check that the ID of the country that is returning is, you can see that as I'm typing these things, this is like opening some. So okay, if I just do it here, wants to check that the ID that is returning is equal to, if I click on here, is equal to the ID that I put here.
Yeah, so you're basically defining a GraphQL field filter or argument.
Yeah. So I'm doing like a filter so that it takes in an ID from the query variable, and it checks here that this ID is a string. The first check is that to check that the ID is a string, and then the second check is to make sure that the ID is equal to like the ID of a city. And then if you hit like the run, it returns Dubai, because that's the ID that I chose the first time. Okay.
Let's move it over.
Yeah, so we do the same thing, we copy and paste, which is mostly what programming is.
And coding.
And coding, yeah. So we take this query, and I'm going to I'm going to go to my, where is my query? Share. Are there? Okay. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to import my GraphQL from Gatsby, and I'm going to export let's use the GraphQL backticks. Oh wow, how about, why is my backticks not coming up?
Is it going into your terminal?
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to close this so that it doesn't. Okay, so same query. Remember what we did the last time? We introduced like a data here so that we can just get all that information from there, and then you can see the queries, right?
Yep, all good.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do in this case is that we're just going to take like the data dot contentful city. Let me just copy this from here. Dot name. So hi, I am.
Is the ID,
Yeah.
is that based on the file name convention inside of the curly braces of the file name? Or where's ID coming from in this GraphQL query?
So the ID isn't used here. So the reason why I used the ID was so that I can like show the query and show like an actual output. So we know what's going on. So the graphical playground is just like a place where you can, oh, what is this going to have? So I know what is coming if I put an ID of what's it called? If I put an ID of Dubai there, yeah. So yeah. So the ID from this query now is just going to is going to come from like the actual queries, like the thing you select. Right, so like if you click on the Dubai, like in the homepage, it's going to just show you like it's going to fill in the gaps with the ID of Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay. So hi, I am Sam. I want to put this in the H1. What else? What else do we have? We have the let me just make that. Let me just do this. So we have the data dot description.
Contentful
right?
City
So
first.
yeah, my bad. So you see, yeah, and then what else do we have?
Location.
I'm just doing like a bunch of like H whatever so that yeah, the Contentful City dot location dot latch. And beside that, we want to have the. Is this location option like new to Contentful?
No, I
It's
think
always
it's
been
there for
there.
ages.
Oh, for real? Hmm.
So I'm with Contentful for 5 years, and I remember it has been there for since I'm since my first day.
Whoa! Wow, that's nice. I probably missed it all the time, but yeah. Uh, so what we want to do now is run this. So ultimately, what we spent this time doing is we've created a like because we want to show pages for each city, we've created a query that takes in an ID, which is the ID that of the city, and then we've given it like parameters that we want to get, and then we've created them on the fly because we're using Gatsby's routes API that which automatically just helps you create like pages on the fly from just putting it in the pages directory. There's previously when like I started like using Gatsby, you would have to go do all this query from the Gatsby node file, which is no longer here, which is awesome because probably don't need it right now, but then if we need it, we just create it. It used to come with like all Gatsby sites out of the fly. I mean on the fly, my bad. But you show so yeah, I'm going to show this now.
Moment of truth.
Let's see if this works. But because like I haven't really. So this is like what we saw before. We didn't put like any links or anything. So like let me just hit like a route that doesn't exist and see what to return. Voila!
Nice.
When we see this, automatically we have like routes for Istanbul, which defines like how everything that we put, and then Berlin, which is where Stefan lives, then Dubai, which is where I live.
Seems
And
really
if
good.
we yeah, so we've done like the proof of concept and stuff, but like if we want to do like something fancy, we can just use like the link. You want to just link it so that it's linkable,
Yeah.
right? So let me head out. Okay, so we just go to the there's something else I wanted to show that I haven't shown. So now I'm sure you're wondering like how do you actually link this thing, right?
Well, that is
Because
dynamically generated, right?
yeah, now that it's dynamically generated, how do you like link it, right? So
Tell
let's
me.
do that. Yeah. So if you read the documentation for this, I would switch over to the screen so like so I'm not just talking, then we can actually see it. Um, we go to the docs. I always love to like go to the docs first because I feel like who's better to tell me about this thing than the people that actually
The
built
doc.
it?
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Yeah. So if we look here, we can see something about Gatsby path example. So ultimately, what this does is it takes. Oh, okay, here it is. You have a like you can define like a path with like Gatsby path, the Gatsby path field. This is just renaming. Mostly, I've learned to like just see this as somebody trying to like rename something to their own use case. But then the gist of it is to use this Gatsby paths field and define the file paths that you wanted to query to. So the file path is the same as the one we put under the pages folder. Usually, if you want to just query a page from pages folder, you would just do slash the page. But because this is automatically generated and you're not sure what the names are, but then you know what you want it to show, you're sure that in the query it has a name, so you can just use the slash product slash this. In our case, we'll use /city, Contentful City / the name /city /Contentful City dot name, and
Yeah.
we would link automatically. So let's just go over and do that, and then I think we'll just call it the day. It's over an hour, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, so we're back. We're back here, and what we're going to do here is we are going to I'm going to just add this to our query. All right, I could go back to oh, let me do that. Let me do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, we should
I think
test it
this
out
is
first, huh?
yeah. Let's test it out so that we don't break something. Because the joy is knowing that you're able to just make your own queries, right?
Yep.
So let me just get the query that we had previously. And I'm going to put it in here. Okay, it works. So if you look at this, you should see. Okay, let me close all of this. We have edges, we have nodes, we have this, we have that.
Is that not exposed to graphical or to the? Oh, it should be.
It is.
If it
It
were,
is. It
Huh.
is. I just need to find out where it is. Okay, let me run this again to see.
Maybe you need a
I
schema
know.
refresh or something.
Yeah. Let me check.
Because we probably opened graphical before we added the file, huh?
Yeah, we did, right?
Oh, we have graphical open since the beginning, don't we? And then we didn't have.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Let me just refresh this. I need to take
Fingers
this away.
crossed.
Oh. I'm sure that the Gatsby path should be on here. Just taking forever to refresh. Why? Alright, cool. So let's check this. All contentful cities, we have the edges, we have the nodes, we have
There it is.
yeah, voila! I'm sure. Haha. Yeah, so we want the name and the what's it called? The description,
Description and location.
location, latitude, and then we want to add the Gatsby
Gatsby
path
path.
and the file path. And our file path, if we go back, if you just open your terminal and like just go back there, you should be able to copy the path. Like I said, copy and paste, right? The basis of our oh, okay, I copied too much. Oh wow, this copied a lot. Okay. So we want to let's check the documentation. You can see that you don't have to add the file extension, right?
Yeah.
So we want to just take this away from here and remove this because this isn't required anymore. And let's see if this works. Voila!
Wonderful.
We have routes. So yeah, so you can see that it creates like Gatsby path for like each of them from just the name here. So I'm just going to take this query as we have always done. Copy queries.
That's what we do for a living.
That's what we do. You know this? Have you seen these memes that say what I do, what people think I do, what I actually do?
Yeah.
The what I think I do parts is what always makes me laugh. Okay, so now we just put this in here, Hopefully this stays the same. Yes, this is the only thing added. And then on here, what we want to do is we probably want to just add like a link to the name,
Yeah.
like somewhere here. So we can import because Gatsby link like Gatsby ships with like link internal like if you're linking things like internally,
Yeah.
instead of like using like an anchor tag,
Yeah, that
you
comes
could just get that.
preloading with
Yeah,
it and stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So we could just get that here, close that out, put this in here. Let's see how this goes. Should be building, should be building, should be building.
Don't you have to give it a 2 or something, the link component?
Yeah, my bad. So it has to go to the actual what's it called, the Gatsby. Oh,
Path.
sorry.
Yeah. Or what?
Yeah, but because we're using because we're, sorry, I don't need this. So because we're using city like from the query, it's going to be city dot the Gatsby path.
Yep.
Because if you look at this, Gatsby path is just directly under the nodes, which is what we renamed to city. Like this is out of this.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's just the Gatsby path. Where is this? What am I looking for? Okay. The Gatsby path.
We're very close.
I hope we are. Okay, let me check. Elevator music loading. Okay. All right. Now you see that this is highlighted, and we can click on here. Boom! Istanbul. Nice. Haha. And then we
Wonderful.
have Dubai. And then if you notice, you can see like it's the way we labeled it, cities and the name of this. If I change this to like description, it's going to be longer. And then it's just going to be like what shows in the URL part. And then if you click on Berlin, this is what happens here. So
Nice.
yeah. So the last step for everything before we call it a day or night, if you're in my time zone, or weekend, is we're going to deploy this to Gatsby Cloud so that we see how fast it is. So I'm just going to clear this. I think I need to push this to my GitHub.
If you're doing that in your editor, we're still seeing the browser, right?
Yeah, I'm doing that in my editor. Okay, so let me just show this here. Yeah, so I just added everything to Git. So I check the stats of everything. Oh, my bad. Okay. So please, when you're building like stuff, don't commit like Obinna. Commit everything. Commit everything at the end. We
Have routes.
the we have routes. Yeah, cool. So because I haven't like created the GitHub for any of this, I'm just going to go back to my GitHub in my other screen and just set up like a repo for this and add this on there that we can look at. So that because the way Gatsby Cloud works is that it deploys from GitHub, so we need to actually have this code on your repository. So I'm just going to go name this real quick. I'm going to name it Gatsby POC. That's what we called it, right?
Yeah.
Gatsby POC. I'm going to create that repository. Then I'm just going to add like a remote origin to this so that it has a place to live. And then I'm going
Push it,
to
push it, push it.
hit push. You know that big enter button? Those big ones that you yeah,
Yeah.
I want to get one of those. It's like after a long day. Okay. Oh, it's pushed. So now, what do we do? Let me open. I'm going to open the browser. I promise you, man. The next time, more elevator music. Okay. So this is the awesome stuff that we built. So happy. Now we're going to close this so we can open Gatsby Cloud. This is Gatsby Cloud. This is the Gatsby website though, not the Gatsby Cloud. But then you can head over to like Gatsby Cloud for more information. You can see what Gatsby Cloud's about, what it actually is. Uh, I'm going to log in. And then this is like all the stuff that I've done previously. But like you have to add this site. So we add this site from this is how easy it is to build like stuff with Gatsby Cloud. We add this site from GitHub or GitLab. Pick GitHub. It searches your repository. I know the name is Gatsby EOC. Yeah, this is what we're looking for. We wanted to build for master. This is the site name. You can just call it Gatsby site name master. You hit next. It's loading all your integrations. So this automatically sees that it suggests Contentful for us, but like we already have that connected. So we're supposed to connect this.
If the tokens aren't coded, right? I don't
let
know.
me. Yeah, it's already there. I'm going to remove this next. Oh,
Let's see
we
what
do have
happens.
environment. We still let's see what happens. It should build. I think we may do. Oh no. So I don't know. A part of me feels like this isn't going to show like the stuff that we have because like oh look what time it is for me. What time is it where all y'all are at? What time is it
I'm
for
at
you?
9:30 p.m. right now.
Whoa. So while this is building, what do we want to do? So this is another example of where we need proper elevator music, right? Okay, still building. Well, we can just like look at the recap and see if we have like done everything that's supposed to be on here. We've chosen this. It's 11 p.m. Man, thanks for sticking around. Um, we've created like the pages. We've used the file system API, and then yeah, we've done everything
Good.
expected. Yeah, we've done everything
Little bit
expected
of
of us.
styling and we're good to go.
Yeah, so proof of concept. So like no styling. This is still building, man. It's like it's been like 1 minute.
Yeah, the first round probably has to do a proper npm install and stuff,
Yeah.
I assume.
Let's see.
Can we see a build log somewhere, or is that
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see. Okay. This is the first time it's building, so like it's kind of strange. Okay. maybe we like call it the night, and then if it builds out, I'll just host it on. I'll just put it on like Twitter and like tweet it out.
Cool, it works for me.
All right, because it's pretty late. It's almost 1 a.m. But yeah, yeah. So thank you all so much for like being here and like being on this stream. Really appreciate it, and I hope that you're so excited about the next sprint. As am I. I'm going to be back here with another guest. Thank you so much, Stefan, for like being here and teaching us about Contentful.
Yeah, thanks for
We
having me.
we enjoyed it. So yes, thank you all and see you soon. Bye.
Tschüss.